All right, let's talk about something we all use every single second of our digital lives, but probably never ever think about. We're pulling back the curtain on the unseen engine of our world, the database.
I mean, really think about it. When you book a flight, or check your bank account, or just mindlessly scroll through your social feed, you're tapping into huge amounts of information. So, where does all that stuff actually live? How is it all kept organized and, more importantly, safe? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
And trust me, this tech is literally everywhere. Every time you swipe a credit card, every time an airline knows which seat you booked, every time an online store knows it has 3 of those shirts left in stock. Yep, that's a database working silently in the background. They are the true invisible workhorses of our entire modern economy.
But to really truly appreciate this incredibly organized world, we've got to go back in time, back to the dark ages of data, an era of digital chaos, where things were managed in a really simple and, frankly, disastrously messy way. The basic file system.
So let's paint a picture. Imagine you're a student at a university, way back when. The academics office has a file with your name and your grades. The accounts department has a completely separate file with your name and your tuition payments. And the housing office? They've got another file with your name and your dorm room. All separate, all disconnected. I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right?
Well, for starters, you have the huge problem of data redundancy. Your basic info, your name, your phone number, is just copied and pasted and stored in all these different places. It's just duplicated everywhere. It's an incredible waste of space.
And you know what happens when you have copies of copies? You get an even bigger headache: data inconsistency. So, let's say you update your phone number with the academics office. Great. But what about accounts or housing? If they don't all get the memo, the university now has multiple conflicting versions of your info. Which one is right? Who knows? It's total chaos.
Okay, but this next one, this is the one that'll keep you up at night. Security, or I should say the complete lack of it. In this old system, if you could open a file, you could probably change it. So a clever student who gets access to the grades file, boom, that C is now an A, just like that. It's a system that's basically running on hope.
So, we've got this complete digital mess, right? Redundant data, inconsistent info, zero security. And into this chaos steps our hero, the solution that brings order to it all. It's called the Database Management System, or DBMS for short.
So what is this thing really? Think of a DBMS as a digital librarian on steroids. It's a super smart piece of software that doesn't just hold data, it organizes it, structures it, and protects it. It's the purpose-built solution to all those problems we just saw.
Okay, so how does it fix all that chaos? Well, first up, redundancy. The DBMS says, nope, we're not making endless copies anymore. It creates one central single place for each piece of information. Your phone number now lives in one spot and one spot only. It becomes the single source of truth.
And by having that one central spot, you automatically fix the next problem, inconsistency. The DBMS enforces something called data integrity. It's basically a set of rules for the data. Like, a student ID must be a number, not a word, or every student has to have a valid phone number. It acts like a quality control inspector, making sure the data is always clean and reliable.
And finally, that security nightmare? Gone. A DBMS acts like a super strict bouncer at an exclusive club. It checks everyone's ID, it can tell the professor, okay, you're on the list, you can see the grades, but it'll only tell an administrator, you're a VIP, you're allowed to change the grades. It gives you precise control over who can see what and who can do what.
All right, so now we get the what and the why. Let's peek under the hood a little bit. What kinds of databases are actually out there, and who are the people running the show?
You've basically got 2 main flavors. On one side, you have your relational databases. Think of these as the neat freaks. Everything is in perfect tables with rows and columns, kind of like a super-powered spreadsheet. This is perfect for structured stuff, like your bank transactions. Then you've got NoSQL databases. These are the more creative, go-with-the-flow types, built for flexible, sometimes messy data, like all the photos, posts, and comments flying around on a social media site. And this whole system isn't just code, it's run by people. You've got the architect, the database designer who draws up the blueprints for the whole thing. Then you have the guardian, the database administrator, or DBA, who is on duty 24/7, making sure it all runs smoothly and stays secure. And then there's us. Yep, we have a name in the industry, naive users. And it's a good thing. It just means we get to use all the cool stuff like an ATM without needing to know any of the incredibly complex magic that's happening behind the scenes.
Okay, so we have the database over here, and we have us, the users, over here. But how do they actually talk to each other? How does the app on your phone actually get the info it needs from deep inside that database? Well, that's all about architecture.
Now, the old school way was called a two-tier architecture. Super simple. The app on your computer just talks directly to the database server. That's it. But that's not great. It puts a lot of strain on your computer, and yikes, it opens up some pretty big security holes.
Which is exactly why today the standard is the three-tier architecture. This is the real game changer. There's a new player in the middle, an application server. You can think of it as a smart middleman. It sits between you and the database and handles all the thinking, all the business logic, like calculating your shopping cart total. This one change makes everything way more secure and lets the system scale up to handle, millions of people all at once.
And that whole journey, from that total digital mess of simple files to these slick, powerful three-tier systems, that right there is the story of how our modern world was built. It's the invisible scaffolding holding up pretty much everything you do online.
So when you boil it all down, what does a DBMS really do? It takes something insanely complex, processing massive amounts of data, and makes it manageable. It's the ultimate toolkit for keeping our digital lives organized, accurate, and safe.
Which brings us to one last big question. These systems were the perfect solution for the digital chaos of the past. But what about the chaos of the future? We're talking about AIs that need to learn from mountains of data and billions of tiny devices on the Internet of Things all chattering away at once. It's a whole new kind of mess. So how will these unseen engines have to evolve to manage not just more data, but faster and way weirder data? That's the next big puzzle to solve.